Hey guys, so I went out Saturday because as you guys saw at Roots and Chambers the other day, I lost a couple, and by the way, I know my eye looks terrible. I've got pink eye. This is awful, but so don't look at the eye. I went out to Roots and Chambers with Terry, and you know, I've lost several fish throwing a shaky head worm. So let me first talk about the worm I'm using and then where it's led me bait-wise. So traditionally, when I went shaky head fishing, I used just the old traditional Zoom finesse worm. And at times I would move up to the trick worm, which is a little thicker body, excuse me, a little thicker bodied worm and a lot longer worm. And usually I'd bite it down a little bit. Well, I've really gotten hooked on, nice pun. I've really gotten to like throwing the 6th Sense Divine Shaky Head worm. So that's a 6.3 inch worm. So you'll see it's a lot bigger than a Zoom finesse worm. It's not, but I love the ribs on it. It's perfect size, and I feel like I'm getting a better average bite size-wise than what I got on. Now I'll still throw this, but this has really become my go-to worm. But as you can see, it's a thicker worm. And so traditionally speaking, using something like a spot remover, I did not love my hookup ratio on it. And part of that's in my head, part of it's, now I'm throwing this most of the time on a bait caster, but I do throw it on a spinning rod some as well. So my traditional go-to hook was that owner hook. It's a stand-up, it's not quite a football head hook, but that's always been my traditional go-to. Kind of no matter what sponsor hooks I've had, when money's on the line, that's the hook I've gone to with this worm. But what I discovered was I wasn't getting a great hookup ratio, and I wanted something a little heavier. And over the last few years, I've started doing a lot of biffle bug fishing. And so traditionally a biffle bug hook, right there, looks like that, just a swing head on a hook. And as you guys know, I started out using that head you can connect yourself, which is this head right here, that Terry gave me some with all-terrain tackle. Now Strike King makes them, so I'm buying them from Strike King because all-terrains are lead and Strike Kings are tungsten, so I can get a much smaller, denser head, and there's just less in the way when I set the hook to potentially not catch that fish. And this is what's strange. I have so much confidence throwing a biffle bug or that style bait on this hook. But when I went to this one, a couple of things. Number one, it's difficult to keep it straight. And obviously I was using a little bit smaller hook than that. And what I do love about the Strike King is they make it in 1 ounces all the way down to 3/8 ounce. That's a little bitty sinker, right? That 3/8 ounce sinker. So I kept playing with different hooks. And by the way, I've not resolved this yet. Would love you guys' input on this. What I found was I did not like the EWG style hook, and I had gone all the way up to a 3/0 hook, which is that little hook right there, and I was still missing some fish. Now, I did not have any 4/0 hooks. I had run out of 4/0 hooks. I've just ordered some 4/0 hooks. So I'll be trying this with the 4/0 hook. And part of why I like going out to Hubbard is you can get a lot of bites, and that lets you catch or miss a lot of fish, which is what you need to build that. It's number one, to have a big enough sample size to know whether that hook's working or not, but also build confidence with whichever hook you're throwing, so that you can do that. So and by the way, why did I switch sinker styles? So as opposed to a spot remover or that little owner hook, that football style just seems to get hung up, especially in the smaller one, in the 3/8 ounce, substantially less in rocks than any other thing I've thrown. I really like it. This bait, by the way, is a super high floater bait. So I've actually played with it in the pool. It'll actually stand up about like that, actually is how it sits, even on a 3/8 ounce head. So it really stays out of the rocks better, in my opinion, than those other ones do. So I'm hooked on that sinker. Once again, I'm making puns here. but I want to establish a hook I'm comfortable with. Now, I'll show you a fix that I did. Actually, let's cut to, so I just showed you guys a bunch of fish I missed. I finally got frustrated with missing fish. I didn't have any 4-aught hooks with me. So I changed heads, but I still made an alteration to the bait. Here's what I did. You know, any of you who know Hubbard know that the fishing can actually be decent. Lots of little fish, you can get your string pulled. But gosh, it's so noisy. I mean, you can't even talk to somebody in the boat with you. It's so noisy right here. So you see I've gotten out a little divine shaky head worm, and I'm going to rig it on that little on that little owner hook. But what I take then is I take my scissors. I got good titanium scissors, and I cut along the spine of the worm opposite of where the hook's going to come out. So basically, I'm just removing some of the bulk. Actually, I blew this up for you a little bit here so you can see this. And that really makes it a lot easier to get a hook in a fish when you're doing this. And I'm going to run video here as I continue talking, and you're going to see, I think I'm perfect from here out with every single fish that bites. I might have lost one fish, but as I reviewed the video, I didn't find it. So that's the old worm right there. You saw what it looked like, and I threw it in the floor. I didn't throw it in the boat, so here we go. So that's an alteration I have made for years and years to a lot of bulkier plastic baits. I even made that same alteration to the giant fluke in the past, where I've trimmed some of the bait up so it doesn't get in the way on the hook set. I've done it on some of my flipping baits. As you saw, I think I lost maybe 1 or 2 fish after that out of 20 bites. So I know that will work, but I also lost like 4 or 5 of those heads in those rocks. And I only fished, I got there just after daylight, so probably a little after 7, and I only fished till 10:30. So to get that many bites, but lose that many baits, gets expensive. So I'm gonna resolve this. I'm gonna keep working through this. I'll share my experience with you guys. If anybody has discovered a hook that works on a bulkier, shaky head style bait, please share with me. I am completely open to anybody's hooks, anybody's ideas. You guys know 6th Sense has been a great sponsor to me, and if you buy these things using the code KEN10, they support me. I use some of their hooks, but I hadn't settled on one. I love the Strike King swing head. I love that tungsten style. You can get those at Tackle Warehouse. I'll place a link before, and again, they support me as well when you buy through my links on Tackle Warehouse. But I've still not resolved my hook issue, so I'm gonna keep working on it, because not only do I like this bait, I like that big 9-inch one as well, and I really have no confidence in it. Now, I got them in the mail Monday, this morning. I did buy some Strike King 7-aught hooks on a shaky head style sinker, so I'll be real curious my hookup ratio on those. Some of those preformed hooks, there's one right there. So I don't know who makes this particular one, but I love the shape of it. It's a football head, but that spring just never has lined up properly. And again, a lot of this is just in my head, but a lot of it's losing fish on it. I've lost way too many fish on that style, which is why there's only one left. I quit buying them. So I really want to resolve this. The shaky head's something I've always thrown a lot. When I won Angler of the Year in the BFLs several years ago, the shaky head saved my bacon on 2 of those different tournaments where I would not have won Angler of the Year. So it's something I'm back to throwing a lot. The lakes will just continue to get more pressure, and it's a bait you can get bit on in highly pressured situations. So I'm open to you guys' suggestion, and I'll continue to share with you my experience as I go through different hooks on that style sinker, swing head sinker, to figure this out. So hope that's enjoyable, maybe not helpful, but educational at least a little bit. And we'll go along this ride together and hopefully figure something out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll have more for you on Thursday. Ah, big nasty. I can see him out there suspended on the end of that wall. By the way, I just was curious. I finished up the footage. So fishing from just after 7 till about 10:45 is when I ran in. I had 17 bites, 2 sand bass, 15 largemouth. I put 13 of them in the boat. You saw me miss those first 2 until I changed hooks. And this is not the last one, but it's one of the last ones. And I would guess out of those, probably, this fish is certainly a keeper, probably 6 or 8 keepers. And then I had the first fish you saw me lose was about a 4-pounder. And the rest of them were, 12 to 15 inches. So just for getting out for a morning, pretty doggone fun morning.